right, folks. We are live. My name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. Going live. We've gotten into this pattern of going live pretty much almost every day around noonish Central Time. Noon to 1, and then we'll possibly go live later in the evenings in 7-ish. And we are live on pretty much every platform. We're live on TikTok. We're live on Instagram. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. Everywhere you like to watch video, we are live. So my name is Alex. I'm the founder. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hold the product here. That way then TikTok will feel good about us. So we are the largest mouth tape brand in the world, folks. We've got over 100,000 users all over the world. We are the official sleep aid of the UFC. We are the official partner of the largest ear, nose, and throat clinic in California, LA, Center for ENT. We're the number one mouth tape brand on Walmart, Amazon, all over the world, folks, everywhere. Now, what does mouth tape do? It sounds crazy. It does. But here are the 3 most common things that we hear from our users. Number 1, it's going to stop snoring. And if it doesn't stop it, it's going to reduce snoring for most of you. For you men out there, it's beard friendly. It works really well with your facial hair, your mustaches, and your beards. And I think the most common result that people talk about is that it's life-changing. You can go to our reviews and take a look. People say how it was life-changing for them. Such a small, simple thing literally changed their lives. Okay, we got a question here. Somebody said, does it stick well with facial hair? It absolutely sticks well with facial hair. So let's go ahead and let's demonstrate the product real quick. So this is a month's supply of the mouth tape. Looks like this. If you're a lady, we've also got our pink that looks like this. And then I'll talk about the nose strip as we go here. So we've got these great tins. These are bedside tins that you can put the mouth tape in, put it on your bed, or you can take it with you when you're traveling. So here, let me demonstrate the mouth tape. Yeah, somebody made a great point. Just make sure you clean your mouth. Yeah, absolutely. Before you put it on, you definitely want to make sure you've got a clean skin, clean mouth. There's no oil, lotion, those kind of things around the mouth there. But this is our men's tape. This is our women's tape. I'll put them both on so you can see them both. Now with the men, again, make sure it's clean. Now what you'll notice here, we just pull a poppet. You'll notice that it's actually a flexible fabric. See that? You can actually see through it. You can breathe through it. It is a flexible fabric that's comfortable. Okay, and it's breathable. So the thing is that when you put it on, this is why it works so well with facial hair, is that because it's flexible and you can put it on, it sticks over bumps, irregularities really, really well. Right? That's why. It's not a rigid paper tape that struggles to stick to things. So you see that? So, all right, I'm going to put it on so you can see it. And I want you to notice what I do. I'm going to curl my lips inwards and I'm going to rub it. I'm going to activate the tape. Okay. Notice how it moved with my mouth, moves with the face really well. It's comfortable, right? Works well with that facial hair. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna appease the audience here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the pink tape on. Okay. For all of our ladies who like to wear it. Again, I'm gonna pop it, just like that. Okay, peel the back off. And now you'll notice here we've got, again, flexible fabric. And for the ladies who are watching this, the pink is made of a silk, right? A very flexible, nice, comfortable silk that is, again, elastic. So it's going to feel really well. And for the ladies out there, just make sure, again, you don't have too much moisturizer on. You don't have too much, of your skin routine that you've got on. Then it's not going to stick too well, okay? But we're going to put it on, curl our lips inwards. And there we go. Okay. Flexible fabric, feels really comfortable, really, really good. So it works well with facial hair. Somebody said they won't sleep without the nose strip. Yeah, so let me talk about the nose strip too. The nose strip is really good. So what you see on my nose here is we've also got the nose strip, and what this does is this is a month's supply of our nose strip as well. Again, this is our mouth tape. This is our pink for the ladies. And then we've got our nose strip that I've got on my nose here. And what the nose strip is actually, a lot of people look at this and they think, well, it just looks like a piece of tape on your nose. What is it actually doing? And so what it actually is if you look at it here, there's plastic ribs in the nose, okay, that help flex the nose, open it up, right, so then I can breathe better through my nose. And what I love about the nose strip the most is that, yeah, it's great for sleeping. And there's a lot of people, somebody mentioned it earlier, where they won't go to bed without a mouth tape and a nose strip too. But I love wearing a nose strip when I go for a run, go for a workout. Okay. I don't know how I'd be able to do a run without wearing a nose strip anymore. I really don't. Now, again, my name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We're the largest mouth tape brand in the world. We've got over 100,000 users. We are the #1 brand in the world. We're the official sleep aid of the UFC. We're partnered with the largest ear, nose, and throat clinic in California. This is going to stop snoring. It's going to reduce snoring for some of you if it doesn't stop it. And it's going to give you life-changing sleep. Okay? Life-changing sleep. So somebody had a question, can I use the nose strip with pickleball? Heck yeah, you can. Using the nose strip while you're playing pickleball? Great way to use it. Absolutely. Yeah, somebody said the only mouth tape brand that works. You spot on there, Daxton. Absolutely. There's a lot of copycats out there that have popped up, but none of them are the real thing. Again, we're the largest brand in the world. We're the largest brand on Walmart, the largest brand on Amazon. We're the largest on Shopify, just everywhere, all over the place, folks. And if you see any of the other ones, they're not the real thing. They just try to copy us. And yes, it works. So let's talk about why it works. Let's talk about the health benefits. Because a lot of people always question, is mouth taping legit? Is this for real? And so somebody said, thank you, everyone. Not going to even bother trying the other. Yeah, you don't want to try the other fake ones for sure. So here's why mouth taping works. Now, when you breathe through your nose, you're actually getting more oxygen. Now, that sounds counterintuitive because most people would think, well, but I can actually get more air out of my mouth. Why would breathing through my nose give me more oxygen? And it comes down to this concept called the Bohr effect. The Bohr effect tells us that the more CO2 that we have in our body, the more our body can use that oxygen into our muscles for energy, because there's a 1-for-1 exchange of CO2 and oxygen. Okay, so when we breathe that O2 in, CO2 goes out. So when our mouth stays shut, we're now slowing down the amount of CO2 that we exhale. So we have more CO2 in our body, and we can use that for energy. Now, number 2, when we breathe through our nose, we actually trigger the release of this really special thing called nitric oxide. And that's a vasodilator. That helps get the blood moving so we can get that oxygen to every part of our body that needs it. Number 3, our nose is a filter. Just like you wouldn't want to drink dirty water and your stomach doesn't like it and would throw it up, your lungs don't like dirty air. So our nose filters all the crap out of the air. It warms it, it humidifies it. And actually, there's these things called turbinates in our nose. The air goes up, spins around, it warms up and humidifies, so then it goes down into our lungs, and then it more efficiently transports oxygen into our body. Now, lastly, this one's a surprise. Most people don't know this, but breathing through our nose protects our teeth. So when we breathe through our mouth, we dry up all the saliva. And the saliva has good bacteria in it that protects our teeth. And it's got good bacteria that is just good for the microbiome that's in our mouth. But when we breathe through our mouth, all that goes away. Bad bacteria forms, and it eats away at our enamel. So then we're way more prone to cavities. In fact, I had that issue growing up as a kid. Somebody said, how can I get all the information supporting the evidence? It's interesting to study. Here's what I would recommend if you want to actually go look. So there's a phenomenal book called Breath. It was written by James Nestor, best-selling book. Go ahead and read that book. You can find it on Amazon. Phenomenal information on everything around breathing, specifically mouth breathing. In fact, there's a study in the book. This was the study that when I went down the rabbit hole of mouth taping, I read this study that they did, and it completely changed my life. I went from being somebody who was snoring like a chainsaw every night. My wife slept in the other bedroom. I felt like crap. And then I discovered this study and discovered mouth taping, and it changed my life. Now I get great sleep. My wife and I sleep in the same bed again, and I lost a bunch of weight. I have a bunch of energy, and I started this company that now inspires hundreds of thousands of other people to mouth tape and get amazing sleep too. So that study was, they decided to see what would happen if we just breathe through our mouth or our nose. So they go to Stanford Medical Center, the most prestigious university in the world, and they plug their nose for 10 days. Now, over those 10 days, what proceeded to happen was they were snoring like crazy. They developed sleep apnea, and they had dangerously low levels of oxygen in their blood. Do you use it just at night? Absolutely. You're going to use the mouth tape at night for sure. Some people use it when they like go for a run and they do certain exercises. But the nose strip, you can wear at night, or you can wear it during the day and when you do a workout for sure. Yeah, right. So now with the study then, so they go to Stanford Medical Center, that happens, right? Snored like crazy, develop sleep apnea, dangerously low levels of oxygen in their blood. So then after 10 days, they unplugged their nose, they mouth taped, and after one day, everything went away. So when I read that, this light bulb went off in my head, and I thought, how have I've been an athlete my whole life. You can see the jerseys on my wall in the back. I was a football player. Football was my first love. But how have I been an athlete my whole life and my coaches never taught me this? Maybe it's because I was a football player, I was a grunt, and we just didn't really focus on breathing. Maybe if I was a runner or in track, maybe they would have taught us that. But they didn't teach me this, And so this concept of mouth breathing, I had never heard it before. So when I read about James Nestor's experiment that they did, I couldn't believe it. And that sent me down the rabbit hole of experimenting with mouth taping. And so that was just eye-opening for me. And now it's been 5-6 years later that now I've been mouth taping this whole time. I've never not mouth taped. Even when I've been sick, a lot of people, they get afraid of mouth taping and they think that they might suffocate. And you're not going to suffocate. You're really not. Somebody said there are significant changes in the jaw position. Yeah, but to be clear, there's a bunch of misnomers out there about mouth taping completely changed the shape of my jaw. It didn't. Okay. If you're a young child, then it absolutely can, because as we get older, right, our skull and our jaw, everything is it's still forming as an adolescent, but then there's an age when you get into your 18 to 25, somewhere around there, where your jaw stops, your skull and everything stops growing, and it's set in place, and it's not changing. So if you're an adult like me, I'm a 45-year-old, wearing mouth tape isn't going to change the shape of my jaw. It's just not. But if you are a child, it absolutely would if you're mouth breathing. So the misnomer is that I'm going to mouth tape as an adult and it's going to change the shape of my jaw. It's not. Here's what you're seeing. So if I open my mouth, I want you to look at my jaw here. If I open my mouth, look at how unchiseled my jaw looks. Okay? Now, if I close my mouth and I put my tongue in the proper posture, which is in the roof of my mouth, very similar to how it would be if I was mouth taping, now you'll notice I've got a chiseled jaw. That are the videos and the images that you see people try to say about how mouth taping changed their face. Now, I'll say this. What can also be happening is if you're mouth breathing a lot, you could have some, your body is basically in this fight or flight mode, and you might have some puffiness in your face from mouth breathing. And then when you stop mouth breathing, then the puffiness might go away. The inflammation goes away. So that's a reality. But changing the jawline and everything, it's an illusion, because once you finally put your tongue in proper position and your jaw and your mouth shut, then naturally your jawline looks like it should, versus if it's open, it doesn't look so good. Okay. So that's the reality with mouth tape. It's really not about wearing mouth tape. Not really about your jaw line. It's about proper breathing, how we should be breathing. We should be breathing through our nose, not our mouth. That's what really matters with mouth taping, and why we need to be breathing through our nose and why we mouth tape to begin with. Our mouth was for talking or eating, not for breathing. Okay, let's talk about who uses Hotch's tape. We've got a bunch of really high-profile people that use Hotch's tape. And so that includes people like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's a big Hotch's taper, uses it. He's been using it for a while. We've been a sponsor of the pod. Erling Haaland, one of the best soccer players in the world, is a Hotch's taper. Mark Consuelos with Kelly and Mark, Kelly Ripa. Andy Elliott, the greatest sales trainer on the planet. We've got Troy Aikman, one of the best quarterbacks in history, and he's also the Monday Night Football announcer. In fact, tonight, when you watch Monday Night Football and you hear Troy Aikman, that mouth was covered with Hotch's tape every night. Chris Bumstead, C-Bum, He is a big hostage taper. In fact, he just released his new fitness app, and he's got a prize that they're giving out. Part of that prize is going to be some hostage tape. Got Gary Brecka, the Superhuman Protocol, big hostage taper, and he recommends, so for a lot of the patients that he works with, if they're mouth breathing, he'll recommend using hostage tape at night. And then we've got Mark Bell, a powerlifting legend. He's the inventor of the slingshot. And then we've got a bunch of comedians. Wear hostage tape. We've got Tom Segura. We've got Bert Kreischer, the Machine. We've got Pete Holmes. We've got Sebastian Maniscalco. We've got Kyle from the Nelk Boys. The whole Happy Dad team. And then we were mentioned on Love is Blind on the Netflix reality show. Garrett was talking to his lady about how he does something really weird, how he mouth tapes at night. And then he mentioned hostage tape. So somebody said, yeah, it's called mewing. But, when you consistently breathe through your mouth, your jaw position changes and your nose becomes big. I agree that it happens from the beginning ages. Yeah. And then we've got a ton of NFL players. We've been bringing on a ton of teams like Sam Hubbard. I love referring to Sam Hubbard as he's like a general in the hostage tape army. He's the defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. He wears our nose strip every game, and then he is wearing the hostage mouth tape every night. And then the whole Bengals team got some hostage tape, and then we've been signing up the 49ers. They just got a bunch of hostage tape. One of their running backs is a big user. The St. Louis Rams, we brought on we're sending stuff to the Panthers, the New England Patriots. We've got the Detroit Lions. I mean, list goes on and on, right? Before you know it, we're going to have every player in the NFL is going to be wearing hostage tape and doing all that. So, all right. So Walker asked, do you ever have any problems with it coming off in the sleep? If you have any issues with the mouth tape coming off during sleep, it could be because a couple of things. Sometimes people are new to mouth taping. They might subconsciously pull it off because their brain isn't used to having their mouth covered, and we naturally don't want our mouth covered. It's a normal reaction to want to remove anything that's covering it. So that can be a reason. Another one might be maybe you just didn't clean your mouth good enough. And so before you put it on, make sure you clean your mouth, get rid of any extra oil or grease or moisturizers or anything that's there. And then when you put it on, just make sure you rub it. You saw me earlier when I put it on. I was rubbing it in, making sure that it was sticking. But other than that, if you do all that and you take care of it, then it should stick really well. I spent about 6 months perfecting the adhesive on these so that it was strong, but not too strong. I certainly don't want this to feel like duct tape. I don't want you to feel like you're getting suffocated. But we also wanted it to be strong enough to be able to stick and to work. Definitely keep your mouth shut because that's the goal, right? The goal is to keep our mouth shut so that we're breathing through our nose and we're getting more oxygen into our body. Somebody asked, for whom hostage tape nose strips are not recommended to wear? Can you reframe the question? I guess I don't understand. Who is hostage tape not recommended to wear? I mean, the nose strips, anybody could wear the nose strip. Anybody could wear hostage nose strips. But I would say when it comes to the mouth tape, if you can't breathe out of your nose at all, so if you shut your mouth and you're gasping open to try to breathe because you just can't get through your nose, then I would say you probably don't want a mouth tape. You should probably go see a doctor. Another question that I get too is when you're sick. And I'll say this. I've never not worn mouth tape, even when I'm sick. I've always worn it because at the end of the day, our body was meant to breathe through our nose. And here's what actually happens. So if our nose gets stuffy, it's because I'm breathing through my mouth now, and my brain is sending a signal to my nose, and it's filling it up with mucus. So then my mouth opens. So then it creates this vicious cycle. But if I shut my mouth, keep it shut, force myself to breathe through my nose, then my nose will start to open up naturally. And so I've always worn mouth tape, even if I was sick or congested. So now, if it's allergies, that's a different thing. That's something else that could be affecting your nose that you're going to want to look at. But I'll say this. Nasal breathing can actually dramatically help your allergies. Because if you're breathing in through your mouth, you're taking in all the crap in the air, and then it's getting into your body and inflaming yourself. Whereas when you breathe through your nose is filtering all that stuff out. It's doing a much better job of cleaning the air so that those allergens aren't going to affect you as much as if you breathe through your mouth. Somebody had a question about what are the long-term benefits of using mouth tape? It's a great question, Nicole. The long-term benefits are a whole host of things. You're just going to get better oxygen. You're going to get better oxygen, which means you're going to get more energy. But when it comes to your sleep, it means you're actually going to get sleep. You're going to get recovery. So think about the 3 phases of your life that great sleep can affect, right? Getting great sleep means when you wake up the next day, you can actually feel great, have great health, right? So your health is great. Number 2 is your relationships. You get great sleep. Maybe you're not snoring anymore. Your partner is going to feel good. Or you're going to be present for your partner. You're going to be able to be there for them. Or not sleep in separate bedrooms, like I did. And thirdly, you're going to be able to be present for work. Get more work done. You're going to be able to last through the day and not fall asleep on the couch at the end of the day. So all 3 phases of your health, wealth, relationships, which matter the most, right? And all of our motivations in life, think about how better sleep can affect all 3 of those things. And that's why wearing mouth tape affects you long term. Because look, we sleep a third of our lives. And if you're not getting the sleep that you need, then you're not living, man. You're not able to be present for your relationships. You're not able to put everything into work to be able to earn as much as you can earn. And you're not going to be healthy enough to be able to be on this earth long enough to be able to do everything that you want to do and have no regrets. So don't let bad sleep hold you hostage anymore. Which is why we named it that. A lot of people ask me that. They say, why in the hell would you name it hostage tape? Seems pretty crazy, pretty wild. It's a pretty polarizing name. But I was really into liquid death. I still am. I love liquid death. In fact, I've got a can of it on my desk here. But I loved how liquid death created this brand around the biggest commodity on the planet, water. Okay. So I thought, all right, we need to create a brand around this to inspire other men to mouth tape. Because nobody's inspired to walk down into Walgreens and grab a roll of 3M tape. Nobody is. It's not inspiring by any means. And so I knew, too, that if we were going to really grow this thing and start a conversation, attention was the currency. We needed to get people's attention. So while yes, when you wear mouth tape, you do look like you're being held hostage, we're tapping into this core emotion people feel. People feel held hostage by poor sleep or their partner, and they don't know what to do. So don't let bad sleep hold you hostage. That was why we called it hostage tape. And let's be honest, when you're scrolling across Instagram or Facebook and you see hostage tape, you're never going to forget it. Ever. Nobody ever forgets seeing hostage tape. And that's part of the reason why we're the biggest brand of mouth tape in the world, is because everybody remembers we are synonymous now with mouth tape. People know when they think of mouth tape, they think, oh yeah, are you wearing hostage tape? All right, somebody said, was there an alternative name except hostage tape? So the question was, were we going to name it something else other than hostage tape? There wasn't. There wasn't, because when I started the brand, I immediately thought to myself, is there actually a business here selling tape? Because tape in itself is a commodity, right? There's nothing overly unique about it other than how maybe there's a specific type of tape that you're taking, you're doing something special with it, and then maybe you're creating a brand around it, making it different, right? And so when I realized that mouth tape was so life-changing for me, I had to figure that out. I had to figure out, how could I take this commodity and actually build a business around it that could scale? And I knew, just looking at Liquid Death, it had to be something polarizing, something interesting. And so that's where I came up with hostage tape. And I knew that was the only way we were going to do this that was going to be interesting enough to get people's attention, to get them interested, or at least start a conversation. And people go, can you see that hostage tape? Wow, that was wild. All right, somebody said, I'm looking forward to trying. A few years ago, I realized I was snoring and waking up with my mouth open and dry. My nephew told me about this. I'm hopeful. Katie, brilliant. Love it. Yeah, just go to the site. In fact, we've got a brilliant Black Friday special going on right now, everybody. All right, somebody else said, I've seen advertisements for mouth tape and claim it can change the facial features. Will it help you lose fat underneath your chin? Okay, I talked about this earlier. Here's the thing. Mouth tape doesn't change your jawline, folks. It doesn't. Does not change your jawline. If you were a young child, yes, it can. Because as a young child, the skull is still growing, it's still forming. So it absolutely can change the jawline and the shape of a face of a young child who then is mouth taping to keep their mouth shut as they get older. As an adult, it's not going to change your shape of your mouth. Okay. In fact, let me demonstrate. I'm an adult. My skull is formed. It's not growing. So if I've got my mouth open, notice how my jawline doesn't look very sharp. Now, if I shut my mouth and I put the tongue on the roof of my mouth where it should be, now you'll notice I've got a nice jawline. That is what you're seeing. Okay. So what can also be happening is there's inflammation. When you're breathing through your mouth, your body is almost in a fight or flight mode. Okay. And there's inflammation that can happen in your face. And so then when you shut your mouth, breathe through your nose, now the inflammation goes away. So there can be some puffiness that doesn't exist there anymore. That goes away. So that could be a little bit of the way that your face could change, but the jawline overall structure isn't changing. And that's not what's most important. What's most important is the fact that we're not breathing through our mouth, we're breathing through our nose. Our body then is not in a fight or flight mode. We feel relaxed. We're getting nitric oxide release. We're getting more oxygen into our body. That's what's most important about mouth taping and breathing through our nose. I think the practice of mewing can actually develop your jawline. So Here's what I would say about mewing. Mewing 100% is mewing is just having the tongue on the roof of your mouth, which is where our tongue should be. It's like when you swallow, the tongue goes to your roof of your mouth. That's essentially mewing. And what's happening there is you're activating the muscles in your throat and in your chin, which is a good thing. And so it's like going to the gym, right? I go to the gym every day and, I work on my muscles as I get older. I'm a 45-year-old, right? If I didn't go to the gym, then I wouldn't have muscles. They would wither away and disappear. If you don't use it, you lose it. So the same goes here. And mewing is a way of just exercising the muscles in your face and your jaw. And when you use it, right, and you exercise them, then they start to form, and then you can start to get a little bit of a better forming jawline and the skin here and all that. So that for sure, but that isn't necessarily from mouth taping, all right? But you're actually engaging the muscles through mewing, and even like doing some exercises where you're constricting the muscles in your face. Like doing different sets and like engaging these parts can be really, really good for you then to help get some better shape there. But I'll be honest, I hate how all these cockroaches on TikTok have taken to showing you how mouth tape will reshape your jawline. It's not true, folks. It's just not in the way that they're explaining it. It's really not. Okay. Again, if you've just joined us, my name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We're the largest brand in the world. We are the mouth tape brand, folks. We've got over 100,000 users. We're the official sleep aid of the UFC. We're the number one mouth tape brand on Walmart, on Amazon, on Shopify, everywhere. We're going to help you stop snoring. And if it doesn't stop, it's going to reduce your snoring. It's beard friendly for men, and it's life-changing, folks. Okay, somebody had a question. Could you talk about the business model of Hostage Tape? What value does it deliver to us? Well, it's kind of two questions there. You're asking about the business model from the business side of things, as if we were talking about being an entrepreneur. But then the second question you're asking is from a customer. So, the business model is this, right? We're selling life-changing sleep to people. And it can be a subscription, or people will buy it in bulk. But ultimately, it's a daily consumable. This is something that people use every night in one of their most intimate times. And it's something that people will continue to use. I know I'll be mouth taping until I'm probably dead. My mouth is never not gonna, it's always gonna be open unless I use something to keep it shut at night when I sleep. So I'll always have to wear mouth tape, which is fine. In fact, that's something that people will always see in comments is they'll say, well, why don't you just get surgery? Why wouldn't you do that? It's dumb to wear mouth tape. Well, look, we're partnered with the doctors who do these surgeries, right? The largest ENT clinic in California, the LA Center for ENT, and with Dr. Alfie down in Houston, Texas, he's one of the leading airway surgeons in the world, folks. So we're partnered with these guys. These are guys who, they love Hostage Tape. They recommend it to their patients. They're 100% behind mouth taping. And they will tell patients that, look, you may not need surgery. And this is not the first thing that you should be doing. Because number one, it's really expensive and it's not covered by insurance, usually. And it doesn't really solve snoring. Surgeries for snoring don't usually always work. And so... And a lot of times is if they do need surgery and they get surgery done, they'll still have them mouth tape even after the surgery. and it's really painful. And so one of the easiest low-hanging fruit things that you can do is start mouth taping. Doesn't cost you that much money. Even if you don't want to use hostage tape, there's plenty of ways that you can get into it and you can try it to see if it works for you, to see if you are in fact mouth breathing at night, and that mouth taping, right, keeping your mouth shut, could make that big of a difference for you. And it very well probably will for most of you. In fact, there's 128 million households in the U.S., and over 71% of you are mouth breathing at night. That's a lot of people who are mouth breathing at night and shouldn't be. Okay. So there's a lot of people out there who are using hostage tape and will be continuing to use hostage tape. Barstool up in the house. I see you, Barstool. By the way, Barstool, Pat, brilliant move signing John Gruden. Love the fact that you guys signed John Gruden. Love the fact that you guys signed John Gruden. I don't know if you've seen I love John Gruden. I just started doing this. I do a parody of John Gruden where he does this feeling nicey. All right. So if you haven't seen it, go to our Instagram and look at one of the posts there where I'm pointing to the camera. It's kind of dark, but I do this John Gruden feeling nicey routine here. And I'll do an example of it so you guys can see it. Just a quick little beat on it. Somebody asked, can you buy these in the store? You can't buy them in retail store just yet, but we are launching in Sobeys Canada in January. So for you Canadians up there, we're going to be in Sobeys in January, and then soon after that, I'm hopeful that we're going to be launching in stores down here in the U.S. We're working on Walmart right now. So okay, so I'll try to do my best. Sweet, yeah. If you're on the site now, folks, we just dropped our Black Friday, Cyber Monday bundles. Try those out. 50% off on those bundles, and they're gonna sell out, guaranteed. The ones that have the nasal sticks in them, they're gonna sell out, hands down. Okay, they're here. Okay, let's do the Gruden. So I do this Gruden. I'll just do a little bit of it. All right, folks. You know, we should be breathing through our nose because our nose is good for us. All right. When we breathe through our nose, we can shred it, baby. Oh yeah, get that oxygen that you need. Oh. All right, kind of fun. All right. So, yes, I just mentioned it. Go to the site right now. Shred it, baby. Get those bundles. Black Friday just dropped. Okay. There you go, folks. All right. So again, my name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We are the largest mouth tape brand in the world. We've got over 100,000 users. And we are the official sleep aid of the UFC. Oh, yeah. Okay. Let me talk about the nasal sticks. Okay. Good one. So the nasal sticks here, folks, we partnered with Boom Boom, and these guys have been going viral all over TikTok. And we've got a pack of these in our Black Friday bundles, and these are limited. We don't have a ton of these, and so I'm telling you right now that you better jump on, grab your Black Friday bundles, because these will sell out, guaranteed. Okay. And what this is it's an all-natural nasal inhaler. Just pull it out. It's got menthol in it. It's got spearmint, peppermint. And then just breathe it in, and it opens that nasal passageway right up. These are really, really addictive. Okay. So, awesome. Limited. Go get them. Get them in our Black Friday bundles before they're sold out, folks. Okay. Again, folks, largest mouth tape brand in the world. Over 100,000 users. We're the official sleep aid of the UFC. We're partnered with the largest ear, nose, and throat clinic in California, the LA Center for ENT. You're going to stop snoring. And if you don't stop snoring, it's going to reduce your snoring. It's beard friendly for men. We've also got our ladies tape, our pink as well. We're the number one mouth tape brand on Walmart, the number one mouth tape brand on Amazon. Just keep in mind on Amazon, mouth tape's actually banned. It's not allowed. So when you go on Amazon, you're going to see a bunch of copycats that don't belong there. They're just trying to copy us. But we keep getting kicked off, and then we keep relisting on Amazon. So it's an Amazon thing. But go to the site. You can find our Black Friday bundles that we've got right now. All right, so let's let me practice. I want to practice telling my story, my founder story. If you've gone to the YouTube page or you've seen one of my other videos, I tell my founder story. My founder story of what happened. And I want to practice telling that to you folks here. Okay. If there's one thing I want to get better at, one thing I've been focused on lately, I'm always trying to focus on what can I get better at? What can I learn? How can I continue to improve? Especially as we're scaling this company. You know, this company's gotten so big now that you can never get complacent. And so I'm always trying to look at what are the things that I can focus on and learn from and get better at. And I'm trying to focus on being a better storyteller. How? Because I'm in front of the camera quite a bit. I'm on TV. I'm on podcasts. I'm all over the place. I'm on stages. And because of that, how can I be a better storyteller? And so I want to continue to try to work on my founder story and continue to work on being a better storyteller with that story. So let's work on that. So I woke up in my bed and I looked over to where my wife would sleep, and my wife wasn't there. It was probably because I was snoring like a chainsaw. I was snoring so loud that it probably woke her up. She was happy to get up, get started with her daily chores, get the kids ready, and get on with the day. No, of course not. Of course she wasn't happy with my snoring. I was snoring so loud that you could hear it throughout the entire house. And it had gotten so bad that my wife had actually migrated into the other bedroom. So my wife wasn't sleeping in the same bed as me anymore. And so we would then live our lives of, I would go to bed and I would snore like a chainsaw, snore loudly. She would then sleep in the other bedroom. And then I would sleep in, and then I would get up. My mouth was always dry. I didn't always feel very good. Then I would go downstairs, and I worked in my office at home. And I would get to work and then repeat. And then this way of life proceeded to continue for the next couple of years. And our relationship really hit this rock bottom point where I knew that I needed to change. I knew I needed to work on myself. I call it this Jocko moment of extreme accountability. How do I take extreme accountability of things that I can control and improve my life in? And I started with my sleep. And so I did the first thing that most people do, pulled my computer out. I opened up Google and I typed in, how do I stop snoring? And you browse the first page and you look for things. And then I clicked into one of the results and it took me to Amazon. And then I started looking at different products and devices that I could get on Amazon that might help me stop snoring. And one of the ones that caught my eye was a mouth guard. Okay, maybe a mouth guard would work. And so I ordered it. The mouth guard proceeded to come within the next couple of days. And I eagerly grabbed this mouth guard out of the box, and you had to boil it to form it. We all remember forming mouth guards, in sports as a kid. This wasn't any different. And so I boiled it, pulled it out, practically burned my mouth doing it. And I remember feeling how uncomfortable it felt. My mouth was open and didn't seem like it worked too well. So I go to bed that night and I put this thing in, and I'm very reluctant that it's actually going to work. So I go to bed, and then I wake up the next day, feel like crap. I've got dried saliva all over the side of my mouth onto my pillow. My jaw hurts like hell because in fact, my whole mouth was open and it didn't work at all. Somebody said they just bought their mixed bundle. Boom, that a baby. Love it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, again, if you haven't, folks, we've got our Black Friday bundles we just dropped just the other day. Make sure you go to the site, get your Black Friday bundle before they sell out. So the mouth guard clearly didn't work. So I go back to the drawing board, and this time I go to Google, and rather than relying on that first and second page, I go to the 6th page, and then I go to the 7th page, where you go down this rabbit hole of trying to look past all the stuff, the other stuff, to really find that needle in a haystack, hidden gem somewhere that might actually have the answer. And then I found it. It was the answer that I was looking for. I just didn't know it was the answer just yet. So as I'm reading, it happened to be this. It was an excerpt taken from a book written by James Nestor. And they talked about an experiment that they did. And in this experiment, they wanted to see how breathing through their mouth was going to go for them. And so they go to Stanford Medical Center, one of the most prestigious medical centers in the world, one of the most prestigious universities in the world. And so they go to Stanford Medical Center with the goal of plugging their nose for 10 days to see what would happen. And so then over the course of these 10 days, they snored like crazy. They developed sleep apnea, and they had dangerously low levels of oxygen in their blood. And they felt terrible. They felt horrible. So clearly, breathing out of their mouth was not going very well at all for them. So then after those 10 days, they then unplugged their nose, and they were going to force breathing through their nose by mouth taping. And after one night of mouth taping, everything went away. They weren't snoring anymore. They didn't have sleep apnea anymore. And the oxygen in their blood jumped back up to normal levels. And they felt fine. They felt great again. And so when I read that, the light bulb went off in my head, and I thought to myself, mouth breathing. I'd never heard this before. And I was an athlete my whole life, and I'd never had a coach teach me about the importance of mouth breathing and nose breathing, and why mouth breathing was dangerous and nose breathing was good for us. I'd never had that before. And so I then went back to Amazon and I didn't know what to get because at the time, mouth taping really wasn't quite what it is now, thanks to hostage tape. And so I just looked for anything that I could, any 3M type of tape. You didn't know what size to get, how much to get. And so I bought something and I eagerly waited it to come in a few days so that I could try it out and see if this was actually going to work. Somebody had a question. Sometimes I try to control my breathing, but understand that snoring occurs anyways when sleeping. How does it work? Is it snoring? Does snoring happen when you can't breathe with the nose? Yeah, it's a good question. So when you breathe through your mouth, you're always going to snore. Like that's inevitable, right? Because you're getting vibrations from the back of the mouth, back of the throat. When you keep your mouth shut, you still might have a little bit of snoring. Some people it stops it, some people it doesn't, and that's okay. There's just vibrations back in the airway here that when you're breathing, it might just create a little bit of vibration there, and then you might hear a little bit of like that can happen. That's okay, right? What's most important though is that we're not breathing through our mouth. That's the key. And when you mouth breathe, you snore. So they kind of get paired together as the same thing, and they're really not. Mouth breathing isn't necessarily snoring, and snoring isn't necessarily mouth breathing. So keep our mouth shut. Still might snore a little bit. It's one thing that can affect it too is if you're on your back. If you're on your back and your mouth is closed, you know, there could be gravity that's pushing down on your airway that's creating a little bit of the vibrations. So if you sleep on your side, that can reduce any sort of noises that can still happen. So back to the story. So now I get the package from Amazon, and I get this roll of 3M tape, and I remember going to bed that night not knowing how to put it on, how much to use. And so I ripped this little piece off and I put it on my mouth. And you know, it feels kind of weird when you first do it. But I knew that a little strip like James talks about in his book wasn't going to work for me. It wasn't going to hold. So I then ripped off a much larger piece that would fit all the way across my mouth. And that felt really weird. When you put mouth tape on for the first time, it feels weird, it feels strange. And so doing that, it's like people who are mouth taping for the first time, I'll tell them to practice putting tape on. And then your brain can get used to it. Because some people, like, their brain isn't used to it. So then they might feel the need to rip it off, or subconsciously they'll take it off. Somebody said, bro, it's cool, but I ended up snoring with the tape on my lips. Yeah, that may be. Yeah. So like this guy just said, you know, if you're snoring, again, the most important thing about this, guys, is it's not entirely about if you're snoring or not. It's most importantly about mouth breathing. You have to stop the mouth breathing. And when you stop the mouth breathing, you most often will stop the snoring, or you will drastically reduce your snoring. And then if you're making any snoring noises, it's coming from your nose or the back here. And then you can wear some nose strips that can reduce any sort of maybe vibrations that are happening there too. But again, the number one thing that this is solving is mouth breathing. We don't want to be mouth breathing. That is terrible for your health. So then when I try the tape, on my mouth, got used to it. I was then ready to go to bed. But before I turned the lights off and put my head to the pillow, the thought went through my brain. The same thought that goes through everybody's brain the first time you mouth tape. And that thought is, what happens if my nose gets stuffy? Am I going to die? And then I realized, you know what? I'll be fine. My nose was meant for breathing. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to be okay. And I turned the lights off. My head hit the pillow. Pulled the covers up. And I'm looking at the ceiling in the darkness. Just thinking, okay, here goes. I shut my eyes. And I fell asleep. And then I woke up the next day and I couldn't believe how I felt. I felt like my teenage son. My son is 15 now. I felt like I had the energy of a kid. And the way, Gary Brecka always talks about this. The people that he works with, people will say they feel amazing. Just like after you mouth tape, you feel amazing. But the reality is you just feel normal. This is how we should normally feel. And we've been like not doing normal things for so long that feeling terrible feels normal. So then feeling normal, how we normally should feel, feels amazing. And so I felt normal, finally, for the first time. And I immediately knew, as an entrepreneur myself, I immediately knew that there was an opportunity here to build a business around this idea. Because it was so life-changing for me in that moment. I knew how life-changing this was in that moment with how I felt. It was such a simple, easy, small thing. I just had to figure out the business side of it. Is, could we actually build a brand around a commodity? And being a liquid death enthusiast, that gave me the hope that we could do that. If liquid death can take the largest commodity on the planet, build an amazing brand around it, and inspire people, then I knew that we could build an amazing brand around mouth tape. All right, so somebody said, but you can't guarantee that your nose can be stuffy. For some, it can really block the breathing channels. Well, I would challenge you and actually say that if you're talking about allergies, that's one thing that's different. Then yes. But if you just have a stuffy, congested nose, I would actually challenge you that if you shut your mouth and you force yourself to breathe through your nose will open up. Your body was meant to breathe through your nose. Okay. So I have never not mouth taped, even when I've been congested and sick. Always. Your body was meant to breathe through the nose. It wants to breathe through its nose. And when you breathe through your mouth, your brain sends a signal to your nose to fill up with mucus. And then you mouth breathe. And so it creates this vicious cycle. So if we just keep our mouth shut, breathe through our nose, it will open up and it will drain. And you will be okay. Guaranteed. Okay. But even if it's an allergy, I would encourage you to think about, if you're breathing through your mouth, you're pulling allergens into your body way easier than if you're breathing through your nose. Your nose is going to filter out all those allergens, and you're not going to have as big of a reaction to maybe those allergies as you would otherwise. So something to think about there with that. Okay. But all right, folks. Again, my name is Alex. I am the founder of Hostage Tape. We're the largest mouth tape brand in the world. We've got over 100,000 users. We're the official sleep aid of the UFC. We're partnered with the largest ear, nose, and throat clinic in California, the LA Center for Ear, NT. We're the largest mouth tape brand on Walmart. the largest mouth tape brand on Amazon. And just keep in mind, there's a bunch of copycats on Amazon. Mouth tape's actually banned on Amazon. It's not supposed to be there. We just keep getting targeted because we're the biggest brand. And mouth tape, it's going to stop snoring for many of you. If it doesn't stop it, it's going to reduce snoring for most of you. It's beard friendly, works great with mustaches and beards. And it's going to be life changing, folks. I see QB Coach Shaver. What's up, dude? I remember you. Yeah, you like the jersey right here? You see that? You recognize that? Going back to the old Spokane Shock days right there. So Craig asked, do you feel a sense of being trait or claustrophobia? I don't know what you meant to type there. Oh, trapped. Yeah, so when you mouth tape for the first time, you're absolutely going to feel a bit claustrophobic. It's pretty normal. Like we're not meant to have our mouths covered. It's a normal fight or flight reaction that when you cover your mouth, you want to rip it away and uncover it. So it's perfectly normal to feel that way. That's why when you try mouth taping for the first time, just put it on your mouth. If you're sitting at your computer or you're at home doing something, put it on your mouth and just get used to the feeling of it. And then you can ease any anxiety. And the nice thing about what we did with hostage tape here is because it's not a paper tape, it's not a rigid tape, it's a flexible fabric tape. So what you're seeing here is it's a flexible fabric that when you put it on, it moves with your mouth. It moves with the face, so it's really comfortable. And it's breathable. So you're not going to suffocate. You can breathe through it if you absolutely had to force yourself to breathe through it, but you can also just rip it off really easy. Most people, when they get used to this, it's very comforting to have it on their mouth. Very comforting. So here, I'll put it on one last time and then we'll call it a day here. So notice how I'll curl my lips inwards and then I'm going to rub the tape in and activate it. See that? Notice how it was moving with my face. It was flexible, so it's comfortable. In fact, once you get used to it, you typically forget it's even there. So there you have it, folks. Again, Alex, I'm the founder of Hostage Tape, the largest mouth tape brand in the world. We just dropped our Black Friday deals. Go to hostagetape.com. You can get those deals. They're going to sell out fast, folks, because of our nasal sticks here. We don't have a ton of these left. So go to the site, get those before they sell out, and we will see you either tonight or we'll see you tomorrow, folks.